The Bible is a living word that reads us as we read it. It's a person, a voice that proves that time is not linear, as one sentence can confirm the past, guide the present, and declare the future. You are here. I am here. He is here. We are here right now, in the tomorrow of yesterday and in the yesterday of tomorrow. I thank you for joining today. So we're back. Thank you so much for joining once again. In our last episode, Joseph finally revealed to his brothers his identity. And it happened after a series of events where he tested the posture of his brothers' hearts. And he came to find out that they matured in a big way. And they proved that in the way that they handled this situation when Benjamin found himself in some curated trouble, some trouble that Joseph really just kind of framed. And the brothers stood up for him rather than doing what they did before and taking advantage of an opportunity for them to get rid of this brother that their father favored, much like when Joseph was younger. The brothers actually had a completely different attitude and they were like, no, we will not. We will not give him up without a fight. And Judah even stood up and advocated in such a way. And he's like, take me instead. I will stand in the gap. I understand that you find him at fault for this offense, but I can't give him up. It would kill our father. And so anyway, Joseph, he realized that his brothers were not the same men that he knew decades ago. And he ended up letting them know who he was. And it was it was a nice reunion that they were able to have. And Joseph expressing a level of forgiveness that I can't even imagine them hearing him express by even saying like it's good, don't sweat it because God's hand has been on this and God's hand has been on me all of these years. And if it were not for the fact that God allowed me to be here, allowed those things to happen, I wouldn't be in the position to help you and to help so many other people. And so Joseph having this forgiving and optimistic mindset and posture of his heart and being able to just love on his brothers and liberating them from any unforgiveness that they had against or toward themselves even over the years. And it was just beautiful. And so Joseph then he told his brothers, he's like, yo, I need you to go back and tell Pops I'm alive and bring him to me. And so the brothers, they went back home to Canaan, and I just imagine them just being so excited to tell Jacob. And they went back and they told Jacob that Joseph was alive, and Jacob was very eager to get back to or to get to Egypt in order to see his long lost son that he thought was dead for all of these years. And so this week we pick up with the journey. So Jacob packs up all of his things and he takes all of his family. It's 66 of his ancestors, his sons and their children, not counting his sons' wives. But it was 66 of them that went with Jacob to journey back to Egypt. And on the way, Jacob actually stopped over in this town called Beersheba, where God spoke to him and just reminded him, like, I am God. And God told him, he's like, don't be afraid to go to Egypt, which tells me that there might have been some reservation in Jacob's heart. Not because there was anything in the story that told us, like, Jacob didn't, it didn't give us any clue about that other than the fact that God is addressing it. If he's saying something about it, it means that he's speaking to something that is there that it's just information we weren't privy to until now. But God told him, he's like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go to Egypt. Everything is going to be okay. Um, and your family will multiply. I'm going to make them into a great nation. But you are going to die. Just gonna let you know that. And but Joseph is going to be there, so there's a perk. Um Joseph's gonna be there, and he'll be there to close your eyes, essentially. Jacob and all of his crew, they went on their way. They made it to Egypt. Judah went, he looked for Joseph, and he's like, yo, we don't really know. We here and all. It's good to see you, bro. But like, we don't know where to go. And so Joseph gave them directions to this town kind of on the outskirts in the northern region called Goshen. And he's like, yeah, y'all just go hang out right there for now. And so he's like, I'm gonna catch up with you in a little bit. And so Joseph ended up meeting his family in Goshen. And I imagine his heart was racing, and he was tripping on himself trying to get to his pops that he hadn't seen in decades, and Jacob just weeping and sobbing. And I picture this embrace. I can just imagine them. And it says like they just held on to each other. They embraced and just held on to one another. And I imagine their hearts just beating and racing, and them feeling that, just the rhythmic just thumping in one another's chests as they just interlock arms and just love on each other. And Jacob pulls away finally, and he just stares into Joseph's face, and he's like, man, now I can die. And Joseph's like, not yet. But Jacob's like, now I can die. Like my soul is settled now, knowing that you are alive, and I can rest easy now. And anyway, they had this wonderful family reunion, and then Jacob was like, okay, I gotta, let's get down to a little bit of business. And he's like, I know that I need to go talk to Pharaoh, and we gotta get some things established in terms of where you're going to be. And he's like, he's talking to his brothers, and he's like, yeah. So when we go talk to Pharaoh, I need you to tell him that you take care of the livestock and that you're shepherds, just like your ancestors are or have been. Like it runs in the family. Just tell him that you're shepherds and you take care of the livestock. That way, he'll let you all stay here in the region of Goshen, which again, like I said, it was kind of on the outskirts. It was a distance away, and Joseph wanted that. He wanted to create that distance, so there was not a lot of commingling between the Egyptians and his people. And he's like, yeah, if you just tell them that you're shepherds, then you'll be good, because the Egyptians can't stand shepherds. And so they'll be fine with you staying over here. Now, one of the reasons, in case you're wondering, that the Egyptians couldn't stand shepherds is because the Egyptians served a lot of different deities, a lot of gods and goddesses. Goddesses? I don't say that word a lot. Lowercase g gods, right? And so they're, like the sheep and the goats and cows and bulls were all very sacred to the Egyptians. So the idea of this occupation of being shepherds and killing and eating these animals it was detestable to the Egyptians. And so Joseph and 5 of the brothers, they went to see Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's like, hey, what's up? Good to see you. Glad you made it safely. How was the journey? He's like, yo, what do you do? And the brothers were like, yeah, we're shepherds, just like our ancestors. And if it's good with you, we'd love it if we can like kick it in Goshen for a little while. And um Pharaoh actually, he looked favorably on the brothers and on Joseph's family, and he's like, yeah, I think you should, like, they can live wherever you want them to live. Like, I think Goshen, since they have all this livestock, I think that's the perfect place for them to be. And the land was actually very fertile out there, and it was good land. And so he's like, yeah, I think that's a good place for them to be. And if they have any like special skills or anything, like they can take care of my livestock too. And so Joseph made sure that his family got settled, and um, they moved in, they ate well, and all of the things. But the famine continued, and the people of Egypt, the people of Canaan, like all of these surrounding areas were struggling because of this famine. And so Joseph still had a responsibility, and he was still in charge of what was in stock in the storehouses. And people would bring their money until there was no more money in exchange for food. And it got to the point where the Egyptians went to him and they're like, yo, we're broke, but we got to eat or we're going to die. And Joseph was like, all right, cool. Like, I got all the money already. I put all the money in Pharaoh's treasury. Like, what's left? Okay, cool. How about this? Bring me your livestock and I'll exchange your livestock for food. So now they're bringing their livestock and they're exchanging that for food, because it's like, what good is this going to be to me if I'm dead anyways? Or whatever you need, whatever you want. And so that lasted for about a year until all of the livestock had been exchanged. And then it got to the point where the the people went back and they're like, okay, listen, Joseph, we don't have any more money. You have all the money. We're out of livestock. That all belongs to Pharaoh now too. All we have is our bodies and our land. And Joseph was like, bet, cool, you got it. So what he said was, um, you and your land belong to Pharaoh now. You are going to be servants of Pharaoh. Your land belongs to Pharaoh. And this is what I'm going to give you, because I know you came here and you want like some food and all of that. But what I'm going to give you instead, I'm going to give you some seeds. And I want you to take the seeds, plant the fields, and when you harvest, a fifth of the harvest belongs to Pharaoh. The other 4/5, that's all you. You can do whatever it is that you want to do with that for you and yours. And so the people were like, okay, all right, cool. Joseph ended up establishing that as a rule. Take the seed, plant the seed. A fifth of the increase belongs to the king. The rest you get to enjoy and live off of. And the people were agreeable. And I just thought that was fascinating, because I know for a fact, and I'll even just speak for myself, I know for a fact that there have been times when I have gone to the King of Kings. I have prayed to God and I've asked him for something. And I'm like, Lord, I'll give you myself. Just give me whatever it is that I was asking for. And it's like, rather than him giving me what I asked for in the form that I imagined it being, he's like, I'm going to give you something even greater that looks less. Because if I have my hands out open and I'm expecting a loaf of bread and you give me seeds, I'm going to have to check my attitude, because like, I'm hungry and I want bread. When Joseph gave these Egyptian seeds rather than a loaf of bread, What he actually gave them was fields of wheat for them to make an innumerable amount of loaves of bread throughout the years. And it's just a matter of perspective and just being able to see and recognize what it is that we have and what it is that God has given us. I say that to say this. If you've prayed and you've asked God for something, and it seems like He gave you something completely different than what you asked for, it could be because what He gave you is actually carrying and hosting something far greater than what you actually asked for. I'm going to leave you to sit with that or do whatever it is that you want to do with that. We thank God for the harvest. We thank God for the loaves of bread, but we thank God for the seeds too. And I pray that all of us will be able to see and recognize the seeds and be grateful for them. Be grateful for them. You may not be the CEO of that business right now. You might still be doing customer service or doing a job that you feel like is insignificant, but it could be that you're learning something in the position that you're in that is going to benefit you to not only be the CEO of this business, but to be the founder of multiple other businesses. I don't know. You know, it could be that it's like, no, I understand you want a family right now. I understand you want to get married right now, but right now, what I need you to do is I need you to sit still and study. And it's like, I don't want to study because that's not what I'm asking you for. And it's like, but what if this is going to actually benefit what I know tomorrow carries? Anyhow, I'm not here to preach. I just want to share the word. And so I will stop there. I thank you very much for your time. We will pick up where we left off next time if God should bless me to be able to record another episode. Thank you again for just sticking it out with me up to this point. And I look forward to the next time. Until then, bye for now.